electronic version of the bills or the voucher that you see in the real life. So if you look at a bill will have, I'm not interested in the first part, the heading, the date and all the other things. You will notice that there will be a content here with the item name, the quantity, the unit price and the total. So this is what I want to achieve, and I want to do it in the PHP. So this will be one page application wherein you are going to enter the item name, the unit price and the quantity, and when you submit that thing, this information will be stored in the table. And you are, because it's an electronic version, I'm going to put two buttons here. One is to edit the items which are already added to the list. The other one is to delete it. So let's go ahead and let's create this electronic bill. And I'm not going to use a framework or anything. This will be a straightforward PHP application without any framework or anything. So just a simple idea. The same concept can be used in the shopping cart, but I'm going to use it as a different version here. So let me go ahead and let me create the form here with the option for the user to add an item into this bill. So I'm going to say item name, and in front of it I'm going to put a input. The type of it will be a text. This will be the name of the item, and the name that I'm going to give is the item name. After this, I'm going to put a break here so that it will come in the next line. You can put it in the same line, but I'm going to go and take it in the next line. The next thing I'm going to do is the unit price, and then I'm going to use the input. The type will be a number. You can use it as a text. The name is the unit price. Then finally I'm going to say the quantity, and again this is the input. Type is number, and the name for this will be the quantity. I need to submit the form, so I'm going to say finally input. Type is submit. Name is add button, and the value is add new item. So if you just run this application, this is what you are going to get. A very simple application without big fuss, but I'm not going to show the heading and other things, which can be done by anyone by putting a name of the company and the date and all those things which are no use to us. So we are only interested in the real logic behind it. So if you look at the output here, this is what you are going to get it. Now here the person is going to type the item. Definitely it is not appearing in the proper way. You can again use the CSS magic to get it in the proper order. So let's say, suppose you are going to type 10 and say unit price is 10 rupees, and you are going to add 50 here. Now what's going to happen now is the item that you have added here has to appear as a table at the bottom side. So this is what I want to do. The next item that you are going to type here will come as the second item and third item, and you are given an option either to edit this items which are being displayed here or to delete the entry altogether. So you can delete it or you can edit the items. So let's go ahead and let's do that thing. So I need to store this item in the project. So let me go ahead and let me create an object that is that will be used to store the item. So I'm going to go to my project and I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to say I want to create a new PHP 5 here, and I'm going to give it a name as start item. Now if this could be a shopping cart item or a bill item, anything you call it as, because I'm talking about a bill, let me call it as bill item. So this is the one that I'm going to store it. The same logic can be used in the shopping cart. Now I need a class. So let me go ahead and let me create a class here. So I'm going to say class, and then I'm going to give it a name as bill item. It does not extend out of anything. And what are the things that I need to know? First of all, I need to know the item name, and then I need to know the, I'm going to make it as private so that it's not really required. It's just to make it proper. Then I have the next one, that is the unit price, and the last one is make it proper, and I'm going to say this is the quantity. Let me use the shortcut. Now I'm not very sure whether your IDE will do that thing. I need a constructor and I need a getter and setter. Now I'm not very sure, when you press the control space, are you getting this option? I'll just go to the next line and just use the control space. Are you getting this one? Yes, I think you have done it in the Java. So you have the constructor that you can think of generating it. Now this will generate, if you try to do it, it's going to generate the ordinary Java constructor. I mean the ordinary PHP constructor, but I want the constructor with the parameter. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to right click at this place and I'm going to say insert code. I think you've done it in the programming language. Insert code, and then I'm going to go over here and say I want a constructor. And I'm going to select all the three over here and click OK, and that's it. You get it. So this is I'm not very sure whether that browser is supporting the version that you have is supporting. Are you able to come up to this point? Yes. So just right click on it and then go to insert code. So right click, insert code, not run file. Right click, insert code. Select the constructor. Select everything. Click OK. It's going to do it for you. It's going to add a constructor. In the same way, I want a getter and setter. If you are still not able to get it, it is easy option is you can type it. So that is the other option that you have. Then I'm going to do the same thing. Right click on it, insert code, and I'm going to say getter and setter. So right click at within the class, right click. Don't right click inside any method or other, but it must be inside a class. So right click on it and then say insert code, and I want a getter and setter. Select it and select all of them. I want a getter and setter for all of them. Just click OK. It will add the getter and setter for you. So you have the class ready. This is what you have done it in the Java. The same option is available even for the PHP. It will do the getters and setters directly for you. Hope you are able to get up to this point. So we have the class with the constructor, with the getter, and with the setter. Everything set. Let's go ahead and let's try to use this within our application. So I'm going to go over here, and you know very well, in order to use this option, you need to remember. So whenever I add a new item, I must remember what was the previous item. I'm not going to store that item in the database. The only way I can think of storing it temporarily is using a session. So I need a session here. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say session, and I'm going to say start a session. And you know very well this must be the first line within your document. So I'm going to start a session because I need a session to store the values which are temporarily added onto the bill. Then the next thing I want to use is I want to have a file that I've been using it, and I want to use this require once, and that is the bill item.php. So what I'm saying is, in order to work with it, I need this class which is there in the bill item. So I want a reference to that file. So I say I want only once. I don't want again and again. So I just want a reference to it. If it is not there, I want the program to stop, because then if it is not available, I will not be able to continue with the program. So I want it once. That is required once. Again, if it is added, I don't want it to be there. So let's go ahead and let's handle the PHP part now. So what happens when the user goes here, enters something, and then clicks on add new item? I need to handle the click event of that. So let me go ahead and let me go to the click part here. So I'll go to the PHP part and I'm going to say if is set, and I'm going to check for the browser, because I really don't know whether it's a get or a post request. I'm going to say any type of request that you are getting it, whether it's a get or post, regardless of that, if you get a value for this add button, that means the user has clicked on that add button. So I'm saying here is if the user has clicked on this submit button, that is with the name add button, I'm going to go ahead with it. So what is that I'm going to do? Let's go ahead and let's look at what is that we are going to do over here. So here I have a item, and if I click on this item, the pen and other things, what is that I am supposed to do? I am supposed to go to this session, and I am supposed to store this information in the session. Now, if the user types the same pen again, and if the user changes the value, so he is going to say already 50 items or 50 pens are there, I want to add 5 more pen, then it will not be one more entry here. The reason why it is not going to be one more entry here is already a pen is there in the bill. So what you are supposed to do is not to repeat the same item again and again. Instead, you have to just go here and just change the quantity of that pen. So if user says it is pencil or something else, then make a new entry. So how do I add the items into the session? Is I take this item that the user has typed and I go to the session to verify whether the item already exists. If the item already exists, I'm going to just update the quantity of that item. If the item does not exist in the session, then I'm going to make a new entry for that. So this is how I'm going to go ahead with it. First of all, the first thing I need to do here is I want to be very sure that there is this thing in the session. So let me go ahead and let me go to the session and let me verify whether the bill is already there in the session. How do I do that thing? I'll make a blind guess and I'm going to go to this session and I'm going to ask this session, do you have something called as bill inside you? So not this way, I'm going to say is set. So here I'm asking the session, do you have a entry called as bill? If you have an entry in the bill, well and good. If you don't have it, then I'm going to go ahead with it. For the first item that is added to the to the bill, in this case, this is the first item that is being entered. So naturally, there won't be any bill in the session. This is the first item to go. So when it is a first item, you need to create an item and then add it to the bill. So how do I create the item? So I'm going to say item is new bill item. And what are the things I am supposed to enter? I am supposed to enter all this detail. I'm not going to take it directly. If you notice here, the NetBeans is warning you and it is saying that you are trying to directly access the user input, which is not a good idea. So I'm going to just store this details over here. The name is request whatever the item name the user has given. So that is the item name. So whatever user is giving as an input, that's the name of the item. Then I'm going to say the price of it is whatever the user has typed. So I'm going to say you can use the post or get or anything, but I really don't know which one is that. So this is the price. So user is giving me the item name, the price, and the last part the user is going to give me is the quantity. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to store all of them in a local variable, and I'm going to say this is my quantity. So I get everything. So I'm going to say this is the name, the price, and the quantity, which is already been mapped. So what I've done is it's not a great thing. I just accepted the item name, unit price, and quantity. I create an object called as item based on that. Then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to store it in a array. So I'm going to say user bill, which is a array, and I'm going to store the item. You can just call it as, if you're not happy with it, you can just call it as bill, because I'm using the bill word in this session. I just make it as user bill. Remember, this is a array and this is an associated array, so this will be the key and the value will be something else. So let me go to this session now, and I'm going to go to this session and I'm going to say, because the bill is not there, serialize this array into that. So look at what I've done over here is I take the values that are supplied by the user, I create an item, I store that item inside an array called as user bill, and then I serialize this entire user bill into the session, and I give a name for that serialized item as bill. So bill is now a serialized object which is there in the session. In a simple way, in a simple word, I take the values given by the user, I convert it into an object, I store that object in an array, and I then store that array into the session. This is for the first time. So for the first time when the user goes there and when the first item is entered, I don't have to search. But once the first item is added, once I click on this add, this first item is already added into the session. The second item or subsequent item that I'm going to enter, I need to search the session whether that item is already there in this session. If the item is already there in the session, I am supposed to update the quantity. I'm not supposed to re-add or make a separate entry. If the item is already purchased and if they are saying I want few more pens or few more pencil or few more books, then you are not going to again write or type the same thing. You are going to just make a change in the quantity, that additional quantity that the user has purchased. So how am I going to do it? So if you notice over here, what I'm trying to do is I go to the session, I ask the session, do you have a bill in it? If the session says I don't have a bill, then I generate a new item and add it to the bill. Why not I'm searching is because this is the first item and there is no other item, there is no need to search. If the session says I already have a bill, then the things will change a slight. What is going to happen now is because the item is already there, then the problem arises whether it is the repetition or is it a new item that is being added. Is the same item that you are getting with the changed quantity or is it the new item? So I need to search for the item. So for the second time or subsequent request that the user is making, I have to check the session to verify whether this item already exists in this session. If it is already there, I need to update its quantity. Otherwise, I have to make a new entry. For example, pencil was not there in my example, then I have to make a new entry. If it is a pen, the pen is already there, so I need to update the quantity. So I need to search whether the item already exists. How do I do that thing? First of all, I go to the session and get the user bill. So I'm going to say, get me this user bill. And how do I do that thing? I'll go here and I'm going to say unserialize the session dot bill. Why did I do this here? The reason why I did it here is I asked the session, do you have a item called as bill? If the session says I don't have it, I'm making an entry. If the session says I already have a bill, then I'm asking the session, get me that bill. I want to check whether something is there in the bill. How do I do that thing? So I'm going to use a simple for loop. For I is equal to 0, then I less than the items which are there in the bill. How do I get the items which are there in the bill? You're already familiar. There is a count method that will check the items within the array. So this was an array that was stored in the session. So I retrieve that array and now I am passing through the individual element of the array. So what is that I'm doing now is I get the item, I get that bill from the session. Now I individually go through each and every item to verify whether the name which is there within this session is it same as the user item name. So how do I do that thing? I'm going to go over here. First of all, I'll get that item. I'll get this item which are stored. So how do I get this thing? So I go here and I'm going to say user bill and I'm going to say give me the this is a dollar user bill. So I retrieve individual items from this session. So new item has come. I go through this session. I retrieve one item from the session and then I compare whether the name is same. So I get this item. Now I'm going to go to this item and I'm going to say get me the item name. Now for the first time NetBeans may not be able to help you out. So instead of making a spelling mistake, I will just copy this function name, that is get item name here. So for the initially NetBeans will not be able to do that thing because it is not a Java kind of code that the NetBeans can compile in the background and verify whether the things are there. So what I done here is I go to the session, I retrieve individual item from this session and I get the name of the item and I compare with the name that the user has provided. So what I'm doing here is I go to the session, retrieve one item from this session, get its name and compare that name with the item name that the user has provided. If both of them matches, that means the item already exists. So what I'm going to do now is I will go here and I'm going to say item and I'm going to say set. Again I'm going to make a copy because the NetBeans will not be able to help you out until you save and execute it once. Once it is done, NetBeans will figure out what is it. So I need to set the quantity. So how do I set the quantity? Quantity is the old quantity plus the new quantity that is supplied. So look at the way I'm doing it is item dot set quantity is equal to get the old quantity, that is already existing quantity. For this, add the new quantity. So if there are 50 items of pens were there, and now you are adding 5 more items, then it must be old 50 plus the new item, that is new quantity, that will be 55. So if already 25 bags are there, you are adding 2 more bags, then it must be 27. So get the old value, add the new value that is supplied, and then set them back to the item. Once you have done this one, there is no need to check for the other item. What you can do is you can straight away break this for loop. Now there is a problem. What if it is not there in the, what if it is a new item? If it is not a already existing item, something new. Pen is already there. The person has added maybe a notebook, or person has added something like a file or new other item which is not there in it. How do I know that the item is not there? So here I am iterating through this for loop. If I go through the entire for loop and if this condition is not satisfied for the entire for loop, that means I went through all the items in this session, none of them matched with the name that the user has supplied. That means it's a new item that the user is supplying. That means I'm supposed to add a new entry, or I'm supposed to make a new entry because this item does not exist in the session. So how do I do that thing? I'm going to create a boolean variable here. I'm going to say is in bill, and I'm going to set the default value for this as false. So is in bill is false. Suppose if I get the item, suppose if I get a match here, that means to say that is in bill is true. This is a flag that I'm using to say that it's there in the bill. So I'm supposed to do it outside the for loop. Just one mistake. I'm supposed to do it outside the for loop. Before entering the for loop, I'm supposed to do it not inside the for loop. If I do it inside the for loop, every time it's going to make a terrible problem to me. So outside the for loop, I set it. I enter the for loop. I check for all the items. If it is still not there, then I'm going to go and say that it is not there. So once I come out of this for loop, two things can happen. One is the item was existing, that is why you executed this line, or the item didn't exist there, that means you are supposed to add a new item. So after coming out of the for loop, I'm going to check whether is in bill. If it is true, that means you have added the item here. So that means it's a repetition. If it is not, so if not is in bill, that means it's a new item that you're trying to add. So if not is in bill, so it's a new item, what are you going to do? I'm not going to waste my time on that. I'm going to go here and I'm going to retrieve the user bill. I think user bill is already retrieved. Already have it there. So I have already retrieved this user bill. So I'm going to go and create a new item, and then I'm going to store it here. And if you're not very familiar, if you don't specify the index value, PHP will automatically add it to the end of the array. So in PHP, arrays are not bound. If it is, if you just say, if you say 5, it's going to add it as a fifth element. If you say I it's going to add it, say $I, it's going to add it for the ith element. If you don't specify anything, it just means to the PHP that add it as a new item. So go to the end of the array, add it as the new item. Once it is done, I'm going to store this user bill into the session. So I'm going to store it back to the session. So what are the things that we are doing here? So we get some information from the user, and the information that is get obtained from the user, if it is for the first time, we create a new item. So if it is for the first time, we create a new item, that is a new array, and then we store that thing in the session. We store it in the session. For the second time, for this is the second time. For the second time, if the user is supplying a new item, what we do is we go to this particular session, we retrieve individual item from this session, and we compare the name that the user has supplied with the name of the items which are there. We take one item from the session, we compare the name. If the name matches, we only update the quantity into the corresponding item. If the name does not match, then we are going to create a new item, and then we are going to store this new item into the session. So this is how we do it. Whenever a new item comes, we check whether the item is already there. If it is there, just update the quantity. If it is not there, add a new item. So if everything goes fine, we must be able to see the item added to the list. So let's go ahead and let's try to output the entries. So I'm going to go here outside my if statement. So this was my if statement which was there. Whether it is button is clicked or not, I'm going to start a new separate if statement outside this, and I'm going to say is set and I'm going to say session dot bill. If it is set, so that means to say that if it is this part is just meant for displaying the item back to the user. So if it is set, what is that I'm going to do? I'm going to get this user bill from the session. How do I do it? I'm going to unserialize it. I'm going to go to my session, and within the session, I'm going to get the bill. So get the bill. Then I use a for loop for $I is equal to 0, $I less than count of user bill. That's the same for loop that I'm using. Now this is meant to show the output back to the user. For the first time, I'm not going to format it. I'm going to get individual item from this one. So how do I do it is I'll go to the user bill, and I'm going to get the ith item, and then I'm going to just echo them one after the other. So I'm going to say echo $item, and I'm going to say get the item name. Then if you want, you can put a space separation. I think you can put a space separation here. So that it will come in one line. Then next time I'm going to say get the unit price, and then I'm going to say get the quantity. After that, I'm going to put a break so that the next item will come in the next line. So I'm going to just put a break here so that the next item will come in the next line. This is the display part. This is not the logic part. So you are just displaying the items which are there in the uh, bill to the user, back to the user. So let's go ahead and let's try to run this particular application. I'm going to go here and I'm going to just press enter, and this is what I have done here. So what I'm doing here is I retry the user bill, that is a bill from this session. I go through the individual bill item and then I start displaying it. I'm not doing anything. So display it in one line with the space separation. And then if the other items are there, I'm going to just do it. So let's look at this one. Let's see how many logical errors are there in this case. So I'm going to add a 10, and let me say the unit price is 10 here and quantity is 5. So when I click on this add new item, I'm going to say that a pen with the 10 and 5 is added. So this is from the session. You are retrying it from the session. Now let me go here and let me say I'm going to add a pencil. And let me say that the unit price of it is 5. I want 10 items of this. Let me add it again. I must be able to get the second item because it was not there in the session. If I repeat it, if I repeat the pen, but this time you must be careful. Even if you type it or not, the price will not change. So because I'm not going to update the price. So if I add 7 more pens to it, so it was 5 here. So if I add 7 to it, it must be 12. So you notice that it is going to be 12. So I'm able to add an item to an existing item. So this is what I'm able to achieve. See that you are in up to this point. So this part you need to show it like a table. So how am I going to do it? Is I'm going to put it inside a table. So I'm not going to put the entire table part and everything in the HTML. So this is my display part wherein I'm trying to show the things. I break the PHP here and I open the PHP here. So I just break the PHP at that place so that I can type my regular HTML. So how am I going to create a table? You know very well. You create a table. You can use CSS, but I'm not going to do it, and I'm going to say the border. Again, this is deprecated, but I'm going to use it. Border has been deprecated because border is nothing but formatting, and people are very strict about formatting the items, but this is not yet pulled out. Still, it's able to show that. Now I need a row here, that is my header, and within this I'm going to put the title. This is just the title that is going to appear. I think they say particulars something or items. Then one more column. Then I'm going to say the next one was the price, say unit price. And then one more TD, quantity. One more TD, total. So I make it as small quantity. You can type it full. That's one row. Now, if you just save it, and if you go back here and then try to add one more item, okay, you're going to get it like that. Now, this space has to come accordingly. I'm not formatting it as of now because I'm only interested in the logic part. Now, those items has to be split in the proper order and make it appear in the proper way. So I want this end of the table. So look at what I'm doing. the table is started from here to here. I break this table, cut that table, and I'm going to put it just before the body. So that table is there, the last part will be the slash table. So that's the table. So table will start from here. In between, lot of PHP is there, and the table will end just before the body. And within this for loop, now you can break this for loop and do it, but I'm going to use the echo statement, so that will be much easier. So this is the one row that you are supposed to show. So I'm going to say echo 1 tr. This is one row, and the last one is slash tr. So that makes one row. This is one row. Tr tr. In between you have to get td td. I'm going to manually do it. So echo 1 td. So not really required. This will come followed by slash td. So this is one column. From here to here, this is going to be one column. Same thing, second column. So this is one column, second column, and similarly the third column. So TD and TD will create one column for you. And definitely I don't need extra spaces, so I'm going to get rid of this concatenation of extra spaces. Now they won't make any difference to me, so I'm going to get rid of this extra spaces that I've added in the previous case. So this is one column, this is the next column, the next one is the next column. So three columns, I got it. Now the next, let's look at this in the in action. So let's go here and let me try to add something. So pencil, unit price is 10. So one more pencil, add it. I think I got that one, except the total. The total is not coming because I have not computed the total. So let me calculate the total and let me show that total here. So before ending, one more column is missing, and that is the total. So let me get this total. First I'll do the calculation on that total. So let me go over here and let me say total is item get unit price into dollar item get quantity. So that's going to create a total for me, and I'm going to just copy this. I won't waste my time in creating one more column. So it is TD and TD. In between you put a total. So that's the last part. That's going to show you this total one. Semicolon is required. That's going to show the total for you. So this is the last part. You do the total. Total is nothing but unit price into quantity, and let's give it a try now. And if you go over here and let's say I'm going to add a pen here or anything you can add. So some item and press enter and you get that thing. So that's the one that is getting calculated. So you have the item. Now what I'm going to do is, what if they want to make changes? So next one, what if they want to change the unit price now? They just want to make changes to the unit price, or they want to directly make changes to the quantity here. So I'm going to give an option there with just one button here, say edit button. So I'm going to put a button edit here. They can make changes onto this item and then click on the save button to make changes to that particular item. So only this item has to be changed. So if they make it as 15 here, unit price is 15 now, and if they click on save button in front of it, that item has to be saved. If they make it onto the other item, the second item has to be changed. So I need one button there to make the things happen. So let me put a button right as one other option. Now I need one more column. So I will go to the header row and I'm going to put a TD here and I'm going to say edit. That will be my title. Edit will be my title wherein I allow the user to make the changes. So this will be just the title that is going to appear. But I need a button for doing it. So let me go ahead and let me add one more column here. So let me do it again. Control C. So this will be one button. So how am I going to create a button? A button is nothing but it's an input. Type is submit. I will have to put it in single quote because I have already started with the double quote. Submit. Name of it is edit button. Value is anything you can give edit. So this will be one more button. Put a double quotes and close it. So the last item is going to be an edit there. So this is going to the submit button with the edit. Now if you save this one and go back and try to add one more pen or pencil or anything for that matter. So if you add one item here, you notice that edit will come. So I am supposed to make changes to this. Click on, sorry, I think I wrote the name as save there. So not the edit. You can change the value. I'm going to make it as save. So you make changes to here and click on save. So I'm going to just make it as save here. Just the value, not going to be edit. Save. So that is going to appear like save. So the user will make changes to this one and you are going to click on that save button. Now it is showing as edit and you must update only that part. Now the problem here is this is not a text box, so the user will not be able to make any changes. So this is appearing like a direct thing. You need to make it appear like a text box. So how am I going to do it? So let me go back to the individual items where I'm showing the item name. Remember, I'm not allowing the user to make changes to the item name because if you try to do it, item name is unique here. It's like a primary key. We are searching on the items, so that must be unique. If you allow the user to change the item name, then you will have a lot of problem in updating it. The item name is wrong, then they have to delete it and then recreate it altogether. So I'm only allowing them to make changes to the unit price and the quantity. How am I going to do it? This thing has to come as a value within a text box. So how am I going to get it like a text box? I'm going to say echo and I'm going to say input type equal to, if you notice I type it as a number in the previous case. You can make it as a text. If you notice over here, I typed it as a number. So that the browser will not allow somebody to type the wrong value. I think I made a mess. I have already started with the double quotes, so I have left with single quote. The name of it is, I'm going to take it as the, let me guess what name I gave. I think I started with the unit view price and KPY. So let me use the same thing. So where is that thing going? So the name is the U price. I gave the name as U price. Value is this one. So value is this one. I'm going to put a double quote here. Value is this one. Okay. The value is not ended. You see a single quote here. Value is not yet ended. So this is going to be a continuous one. It's going to appear like input. So it's going to appear in this format. So it's going to appear like input. Type is number. Name is new price. Value is the value that will be shown here. This will come, whatever the 50, 60, whatever it is, it's going to come. And then I have started with the single quote. I need to end after this. I need to end with the single quote. I have to start and end. I've started. Then this value will come. After that, I need to put one more thing. And the last thing is I need to close that. So up to here, it is done. The next part I'm going to do is after this, I'm going to say echo single quote, that is to close this one. So single quote followed by the close of the input tag. So this is how it's going to appear. So let's give it a try. So you start with the input tag, you close it, there is this value, and we are going to show that. Let me add a dummy item again. And you notice this is now a text box. You can make changes. Nothing is going to happen now, but it's a text box. So you got that item inside a text box. You got it inside a text box now. So this is what I have done. A lot of steps, but ultimately you're going to get the things done. Let me try to do the same thing. I'm not going to write it again and again. I'm going to copy this whole thing and I'm going to paste it for the quantity. I'm allowing only 2 changes. And after this, I'm going to do the same old thing. Only difference now is it is QTY. So this is QTY for the quantity. This is QTY. Rest part remains same. I'm not making any changes. It's the same input, and that thing as it is coming. Only thing is now it is for the quantity, so I have changed it to the quantity. So it is simple as that. So I told that I'm going to change the quantity as well as the unit price. And if you go back and if you look at the item again, and if you try to do again some same thing here, you will see again you can use CSS to make the width and all those things different. But you notice that both of them are now text boxes. You got them inside a text box, and the user is allowed to make changes to it. And when the user clicks on this save button, what must happen is that particular item has to be updated. That has to happen. Now the problem is if you click on this save button, nothing is going to happen. The reason is this save button is not inside any form. So if you notice there, you don't have a form for that particular thing. There is no form for this input, and without form it is not possible to send a input boxes. There is one more problem. When you click on this save button, you must update it. How are you going to update it? The way in which you can update it is, it's the same thing. You go through all the items, take the pen and then make the changes. That means in order for you to make the updates, you must get the name of the item, which is not getting passed. So that is again bad thing. So here, even if you put this thing inside a form, the input box will go, the submit button will go, but the name of the item will not reach the other side. So what I'm going to do now is one more trick. I'm going to display that item as it is. Name I'm going to display it. I'm not going to put it in the text box, because if you put it in the text box, the user can change the name of the item. So after displaying the item, I'm going to set it. This is a text, and I'm sorry, it's not a text, it is hidden. So I'm going to say this is a hidden value. And what's the value? Value is this and a close. Hope you are getting it, this one. Now if you look at this part, what is this one? It's a hidden field which is there. So after the name there is a hidden field which is not shown to the user, but it is required for your reference. You need to know the name. So it is that one, and this is not the U price. I think I gave the name for it as item name. I will get the use the same thing. Item name. So you notice that there is a hidden field which is not shown to the user, but it is there within the form. Now if you save and if you look at it in the browser, if you type anything, if you type pencil or if you type anything here, you notice that I think I made a spelling mistake. That's a small case and it's case sensitive. Yeah. You notice that it's not shown, but if you look at the source code, you will notice that there is a strange thing. Along with the item, if you notice the pen, after pen, you notice that there is this hidden field, and which is not shown to the user, but it is required for my update. It's there, but not shown to the user. So we have a hidden field here. It's not a text box, so user can delete this piece. It's not possible. You can't do that thing, but you are always free to make changes here. Other problem is if you click on this save button, nothing is going to happen because it is not inside a form. So let's put it inside a form. I'll go back and I'm going to put it inside a form. How do I do that thing? So after TR or before TR, it's up to you where you want to do it. I'll go before TR. I'm going to use the echo. And how do you start a form? You start a form with this. So I start a form, and after TR, I close this form. So right at the bottom, after TR, I close the form. So before the TR, I start the form. After TR, I close the form. So this is what I've done. So before this TR, I have a form, and after TR, I have a form. So what is the same thing that is going to happen? If you look at here, if you make the updation again, nothing is going to happen. It's not, no visible change. But what you notice, every TR here, every TR is surrounded by a form. There is a form before this TR, there is a form that is ending after this TR. There is one more form for this row, there is one more form. So every row has a form. So there are so many forms which are there. If you have 1,000 items there, there will be 1,000 forms. So if you look at the source page source code here, you notice that it is starting with the form and it is ending with a form. If you scroll it up, it's going to end with the form. Now your browser is not happy with that. The browser says you put a form at the wrong place. I don't expect you to put that form. The reason why that browser is not happy is because of the formatting. If I get a lot of time, I can use CSS and I can completely override the table. Excel table is not a good way of representing it, but I want the things to happen very quickly, so I've done it. Now what happens when a user clicks on this save button? When the user clicks on this save button, I am supposed to get the name of the item and make the corresponding changes. That's all I need to do. Get the name of the item that got clicked and then make the updation for the corresponding row. So how am I going to do it? Again, simple. When the user clicks on this save button, we must know whether the button save was clicked. How do I know that the button save was clicked? We have given a name to this button as edit button. So I'm going to cross verify whether that edit button got clicked. So let me go before showing, remember before showing the output I'm doing it. So I will go before this table into the PHP world. So this before this table into the PHP, and I'm not tagging on to the if statement which was there. This is a separate section altogether. So it is a separate section that I'm trying to start. Here I'm going to use the same thing. If is set, what I'm going to do? If is set request, and I'm going to say edit button. So what is that I'm trying to do? I'm trying to verify whether the edit button is clicked. This just means to say that has the user clicked on the edit button. If the user has clicked on the edit button, then go ahead and do the updation. How do you do the updation? It's the same process. Go through all the items in the list, verify whether the things are there, and then go ahead with it. Now, I don't want to get an unnecessary exception. So this is not really required, but I really don't want to get an exception over there. So I'm going to go to the session and I'm going to check whether there is a bill. So how am I going to do it? I'm going to say if is set this. So that means to say that the session actually has that bill with it. Now why did I do that thing? If the user is very lazy, session will time out. Remember there is a 20 minutes timeout for the session. Once the session is timed out, it's going to pull out that session from the memory. And if the user has kept it on the screen, the bill on the screen, and if they go for a tea break and then they come back after 1 hour and they click on the edit, nothing will be there. So I want to be very sure that the bill is already still there with the session. If it is not there, there's no point in doing anything. So if the bill is there, then only we will do that. What is that we are going to do? First get the item. So how am I going to do it? I'm going to say use a bill. Same old thing. Go and unserialize the session. You have done it before. It's the same thing that you are doing. Unserialize this bill. Get that bill. Then what is that you are supposed to do? Use a for loop. For I is equal to 0, $I less than count of the items which are there. Use a bill, and then I plus plus. Go through the individual element, then get the item. How do I get the item again? Use a bill of $I. Get the item from the session, compare it. So how do I compare it? So if I must know the items again, I can use a $request and get it, but I'm not going to do it. This is not a good practice. That's a problem with the ethics, that's all. Get rid of this. So I'm going to get the name. Here it's just not a good practice to directly use that thing. I think I gave the name. Let me just switch back. This is the name. So I'm just getting it. This is the user input. I'm getting it. So from the request, I'm getting it. Price. How this same step I have done before for the first time. I'm doing the same thing. I'm getting, these are all user input, user modification I'm trying to read. So I'm trying to read all the modification done by the user. So what are all these things? These are the changes which the user has done. I'm getting this value, and all the other values. I'm just getting all those values. By the way, I want to verify whether my spelling is proper. So I get that thing. So now I verify. Let me come back. So I got that thing. Let me verify the thing. So I'm going to go to the item and I'm going to say get item name. This I've done it before. It's the same thing, is equal to name. If it is so, I update it. What are the things I'm going to update it? I'm going to update item set unit price is the price that I have obtained. So unit price is equal to the price, as well as item set quantity is the quantity. I'm setting the new value for the item. So this is the new price, this is the new quantity, and I'm updating it here. Both of them I'm updating it. Then this is again that step is not really required, just to give you a logical feel that I'm doing something in the reverse order. I say I'm updating. This is not required. So here I got the item from the user bill. I made some changes to it, and now I'm writing that item back to the user bill. It's not really a required step, but I'm doing it. After that, what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the session, and I'm going to say the bill is $user bill. Session is updated. I'm going to break out of this for loop because I made one item changes. So look at the way I do it. I go to this session, unserialize it. By the way, I have to serialize it. Just one mistake. Serialize it and then put it back. If you don't serialize it, you will end up in trouble. So when you're putting the arrays to the session, serialize it. When you are retrieving it from the session, unserialize it. Unserialize it is when you get it back. When you're putting it back to the session, serialize it. So you unserialize it, get the bill, search for the corresponding item, make changes to them, and write it back to the session again. So go to the session, get the items, make the updation, put it back to the session. So if everything goes fine, you're all done. And let's go ahead and let's see this. How many logical errors will be there when you try to achieve this? So let me go over here, and I already have something at this place, and I'm going to say I want to change this as 15, and I want to make it as 130. So I click on this save, and it must no changes, but it's all done. You notice that it is unit price is 15, it is quantity is 130. Now I go over here and I'm going to use the capital pen, and I'm going to say unit price. Anyhow, if you don't type also, nothing is going to happen, because when I add a new item, I'm not taking care. 130, 15 is the item. I'm going to add one more item to it. The quantity is 130. So one more item must be 131. I'm going to add this item, and you notice that it's 131. It's going ahead and it is added. So I'm able to make changes here itself and get the total updated. So it's like they make changes to they have ordered a cake or something, and they make the changes and you get that thing, or it could be anything. Okay. So this is what I have done. See whether you are able to get that. The last challenge that is there is how do you allow the user to get rid of it? So let me go over here, and the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to add one more thing here, and I'm going to say delete it. So delete, and I'm going to put a button. And if the user clicks on that delete button, it's all over. You need to get rid of this particular row. The full row has to be pulled out. So last button for pulling it out. So let's go ahead and let's do that thing. First, some changes here. So let me go to this table part. So in the table, I need one more column. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say td delete. This is the title that I'm adding for the table. So delete. This is not a button, this is the title. So I have this total and edit and delete. Then I need a button for deleting it. So once I add it here, this is my title. Now let's go back to the down area over here. I already have this edit button. So this edit button is there. At the downside you have this edit button save, and this one is there. I'm going to copy this whole thing. I need this whole thing again, Control C, and I'm going to paste it. Submit button, same thing. The name is delete button. It's the same thing, delete button, and the word is delete. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's do that in action. I'm going to just add one item here. You can do it anyway. So I'm going to make this quantity as 132 and save it. When you do the updation, you notice that delete will appear. Okay. So if I click on this delete button, that one row has to be pulled out altogether. It should go. Okay. So how am I going to do it? It's the same old trick that we are going to follow. Check whether this delete button got clicked. So I'm going to get the name of that button. So I'm going to search whether that button got clicked or not. I'm going to just copy that name, delete button. And now I'll go back to my place where I have this all these things. So last time it was edit button. Remember, I'm not putting inside any if statement. This is a separate statement. So go just below here, just below this closing bracket, closing PHP. Start it here, not inside any of the existing if statement or anything. This is a separate logic altogether, which is going to work. So let's start the same old thing. If is set, and the same old thing. I'm going to go to the request, and I'm going to ask this request, did you got this delete button? So that's the button. So I'm asking this request, did the user click on that button? If it is so, the next thing I'm going to do is, again, this is just a caution. I just go to this session, and I'm going to ask the session, do you have the bill with you? So again, I missed that is set. I'm asking this session, do you still have that bill? If the session says I don't have bill anymore with me, then there's no point in doing it. Now I need only the name of it. I don't want the quantity or anything. So I'm going to get the name. How do I get the name? Is I get the request, and I think I gave the name as item name. Just get it to avoid the spelling mistake. That was the item name. So I go here and I'm going to say get that item name. I just require that item name. What is the step? The step is saying you go through the session items. The one that is matching here has to be deleted. So how am I going to do it? Again, you say user bill is unserialized the session dot bill. get that thing. And then use a for loop. It's the same step. You just go it in the same order. So $I less than count of usable $I plus plus. It's the same thing. You just run a for loop and then do what? Get the item. So you go here and get the ith item. Get the item. Same old step. Just go here and go to this item and then say whether get the name, is it matching with the name that the user has supplied. It's the same trick. So user supplied a name. You check whether you take one item, check their name. If the name is matching, you need to get rid of it. How do you get rid of it? Yes, how do you delete an item from the array? Yes. So there is this unset. So what is this unset? Okay, unset. Go to this usable and say ith element is matching. So you just get rid of this ith element. Now if you try to do it, it's going to unset that item, but you will end up in a big trouble. So what is that trouble that you will encounter? The trouble is, just look at the array structure here. So isn't that you have an array with the items inside here. So this is a array with the item, and let's assume that you have an item and this has the index 0, the next one is index 1, the next one is index 2, index 3, index 4, and so on. So these are the items. Now if you get rid of this, what will happen? This index along with it goes. So that index is gone. The item, so what will happen when if you run a for loop, what will happen? For I is equal to 1, you get something. For I is equal to 2, you get, so for I is equal to 0, you get something. For I is equal to 1, you get something. But because this item got deleted, when I is equal to 2, the array just yells at you and it says that item got deleted and I don't have an index for 2. So your program will break altogether because this index itself got deleted. So when you unset it along with the index, it's not like you delete this item, the previous item is going to come here, the other item is going to come here, and so on. That kind of thing won't happen. They won't shift. You just pull one full row out of here, but that index number will continue as it is. And you know very well, the indices that you are using in the PHP array, they have no meaning as such. You can put the indices in any order. You can start with 1, 5, 7, 3, anything. They are not the same kind of, you don't have the same analogy like other programming language wherein you say that the indices must be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. In PHP, indices can be 1, 2, 3, 4, and Bangalore, Mysore, and 5, 6, 7, 8, then 100, 200, anything. These indices are just a key value pair. So what you need to do now is, because this item got shuffled, you have to tell this array rearrange yourself. How do I do that thing? There is a function, I don't remember the name of this function. Let's see whether I can remember that. I think this is array underscore value. So let's say, I think array underscore value and usable. So I'm just asking it to do this. It's going to return the array. So this particular method, what I'm doing is, I ask this function, go and get all the values, one after the other get the values, and then put it back to a separate array. What I've done here is, even though it's the same variable, what is that I have done here is, I had this items here, and I deleted one of the items. In between, I deleted one of the items. Now I'm saying to this function, retrieve individual element. So I retrieve the individual element, then I store it in a separate array. So this new array will be a continuous array. Okay, so this item got deleted. So here I'm just asking that just fetch me the, don't fetch me the index, fetch me the item here, not the indices. I'm not interested in it. One after the other, you go to the array, just give me the values. The value that I obtain, I store it in a separate array. So remember, I don't want to create two arrays here. So what I do is I read this and I write it back to a new same array. So simple as that. So in other words, I just update the array saying that the indices are now being proper. Some item got deleted. Now I ask this new function, read the items, then put it back to the same array. It's as simple as that. It could be a new array altogether, but it's alright if you're trying to do it. Now let's, we have deleted everything. Let's go to this session. And then let me go to this bill in capital. And then I'm going to say serialize. I know very well. Serialize the user bill. That's it. And finally, I'm going to say break to come out of this. So what I've done here is I pull out one element, then reshuffle the array so that it becomes continuous, and then put it back. So if you don't really get it, when I unset an element, there will be, it's kind of like a hole. You get a hole in between the array. So you just patch that hole using that method, and then create a continuous array, put it back, and then run it. So let's save it and let's give it a try. I hope nothing else needs to be done. Let's say if something has to be done. Let me get rid of this item and it's gone. Let me get rid of this item, it's gone. Let me get rid of this item, it's gone. As simple as that. So you are able to add an item and you are able to get this item back. You get that. I'm going to very quickly create a new project. So start a new project, and I'm going to start the HTML5. If you don't have HTML5, it can help you. And if you notice over here, the Chrome actually, the NetBeans actually supports this Cordova. It's not possible to configure it directly. It actually supports the Cordova platform. That is the PhoneGap. So you can directly build a PhoneGap application using this. I'm not very. Do you have this PHP HTML5? Then start a HTML project. It's all right. But the name and all these things are not really important. What we are going to do is we are going to say one other important thing, which is part of the HTML5 spec, and that is how do you create a canvas? See to it that you know very well the doc type, keep only this doc type HTML, the other part you get rid of it, and I think you should have used the other one. It's alright. Keep this doc type HTML and the character set UTF-8. So just keep that thing. Others will not make any difference. Meta, keep this doc type HTML that will tell the browser that it is the HTML5, and this is it. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's try to use this canvas. So how can I create a canvas? Canvas is a drawing surface on which you can draw. So just start canvas. Give it an ID. So I'm going to give it an ID as paper. Give it a width. So width of 500 pixel and height of 500 pixel. In between, you type anything. If the browser does not support the canvas, it's going to show that it is not supporting. So you can say your browser does not support canvas. Okay. The older browser will create, you know very well, when the browser cannot understand some tag, it's going to interpret like a text. So it's going to show this message to the user. Now, how do we draw something inside it? To draw something inside it, you have to use the script to achieve it. So I think you have used this you would C programming language, wherein you use this turbo seed to draw the things. It is the same old thing. You need to get the canvas. So I'm going to create a variable. So this is a JavaScript called as canvas. How do I get the variable? So I'm going to say document dot get element by ID, the name of the element, paper. Then get the context. So let's say what C is equal to canvas. This is not helping me. That's it. Get context, and I'm going to say give me a two-dimensional context, 2D. So in future you may get 3D context also. Then use this thing to set the value. So I'm going to say C fills file, fill color or fills file, I don't remember. So I'm doing it very quickly. I think I'll run out of time. Green, and let me say fill red. Start at 10, 10.